Hey, it's Andy here, one of the product managers working on Adobe Express. In this session, I'm going to guide you through the end-to-end process of creating standout social content at speed and with scale using Adobe Express. We'll be using a fictitious brand in this one and then going through the end-to-end process of creating numerous different social assets. And we're going to do so together over the next 20 minutes. All right, let's dive in. Okay then, so this is where it starts. This is the home screen on Adobe Express. Let me orientate you around quickly. So this is your For You page. So this will change based on how you use Adobe Express. So it will get smarter over time. But as we're creating social content, what you'll expect to do is find yourself spending more time in this social media and ads page. Here, as we walk down, we'll see that we've got all of our starting points based on whatever we're trying to create, whether that's an Instagram Square post, a reel, a story, something for LinkedIn, whatever it might be. Clicking these will ensure that you start in the perfectly sized format. And also, whenever you click any of these, you'll also be surfaced a bunch of templates that are appropriate for that task. A great way of getting started. So heading back to social media and ads, as we scroll down, you'll also see some other templates to give you some inspiration. We'll talk more about templates in a moment, and also some chosen quick actions. Quick actions are delightful. They are the simple one-click things that you often need to do, like remove a background, or make some clips, or merge videos, or change the format. What you'll find is a whole bunch of these quick actions in Adobe Express, and these ones particularly are related to social media. You can find all of the quick actions as well under For You, or you could press this plus button, click quick actions, and you'll see them all here. So really, really useful ones. A couple of my faves, just to call them out. I love the profile picture maker. If you're looking at updating your social media bios, that's really powerful. So you might want to try that one out. All very simple, one-click type of actions, delightful results. Now let's go down the left-hand side here. So let's start with your stuff, because we've already looked at home. Your stuff is a place where you organize everything. Your files is where everything is that you've created on Adobe Express. Your projects are a great way of organizing all of the content that you need related to a certain campaign, client, initiative, however you want to organize it. Actually, for today, we're going to be promoting this podcast called Building Your Brand, and we're going to be creating social content together for this. This is where a project is really useful. So I've got all of my branding elements, some libraries of assets I regularly use, our calendar. So we'll talk more about social media calendars in a moment, but this makes sure that we can organize all of our social media content related to this particular thing, and all of our files and folders here. And we can also share that with whoever we choose. So it's important to note that those projects that we're looking at here are your shared repositories. Organize everything you need in a project so everything's all together, and you can also share that with people that you need. So that's your projects. So back to your stuff, we've done file projects. Libraries, another great way of collecting lots of content together. I'll touch on libraries later. And then favorites is your opportunity to save anything that you've discovered in Adobe Express that you regularly want to use. A big theme for what we're going to be talking about today is every action we take needs to be compounding. So every action we take is going to make us quicker and easier to create social content for next time. And I'll show you numerous ways you can do that. Favorites are one of those. I'll show you how favorites works a bit more in a moment. But if I had to give you one main first action with Adobe Express, it's to set up your brand kit. You can have as many brands as you want. You can share them with whoever you please. Here, going back to the Building Your Brand here for this podcast that we're going to be using today, you'll notice that we've got our logos, our color palettes, fonts, the templates that we saved. Again, this is in the spirit of once you've created something, save that so you can use this again for next time. Again, speeding up the creative cycle every time we do it. It becomes like a flywheel. Every time you take an action, it makes the next action quicker. And then we've got our assets, things that we regularly want to use. You can just upload those, create as many brands as you like, just upload those elements, and you'll see how powerful that is in a second. All right, moving on down. We'll touch on templates. This is your place to get creative inspiration. We're going to dive in and start with templates in a second, so I'm going to come back to that in a moment. And then we've got schedule. Schedule is like the calendar I just showed you in that project. This is your ability to plan, organize, and coordinate your social media content. As you can see, we've got our plans for the upcoming days, which I can drag and drop and move around. We can put this out across multiple different channels because this will be automatically posted at your chosen time. So you can have up to 6 different networks and multiple different accounts within those networks if you're managing multiple accounts or maybe look after clients. And also you've got analytics, and this is where we'll actually end the session today. So I'm not going to touch on it now, but as the name suggests, you can evaluate the performance of your content. So as you can see, end to end, from getting inspiration to creating our brand kits, to building our content, to then publishing it and analyzing the results, really, this is the one platform that you can do it all incredibly simply. Now I'm going to show you how we can do it all together. Now, let's go to templates, because we're going to start by promoting our podcast, and we want to promote some of the quotes that the guests have shared in the podcast. All right, so to do that, I'm actually going to look for a testimonial post. So there we go. I'm just going to type in a testimonial here. All right, so I'm going to search for this. All right, so now we're getting some testimonials, which is great. We also get some suggested searches too. But one of my top tips here is to look at outputs and search for outputs. And we're going to look for Instagram portrait post. The reason I'm looking for portrait post is because this layout is now preferred by Instagram in the Instagram feed. It's a little bit longer, as you can see, than square. It gives you a bit more space in the feed to take up. So I definitely recommend this. Instagram are prioritizing this. So this now means, based on our search term and based on the output, we're now going to be surfaced inspirational content that's tailored and fits perfectly for the kind of content we want to create. And as you can see, as I hover over, we've got the little heart icons. So remember how we spoke about favorites earlier, which go into your stuff. So rather than thinking, oh, I found something before and I can't find it again, just add it as favorites. Again, create that flywheel effect, speed up content creation every time. All right, this one looks pretty good. It's definitely not on brand, but I think the general layout I can work with. So I'm going to customize the template. Every element of a template, as you would expect, is fully customizable. We're not doing testimonials. These are quotes from a podcast. So I'm actually going to get rid of that. And we're not promoting a website, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now, what I'm going to do, and the most important thing to do, and this is why brands are so important, I press brands, and here we can see the building your brand, which is the name of the podcast. And we've got all of our kit of parts here. We've got a little toggle here. So now when we press apply brand, we can choose whether we want to apply our colors here, apply our fonts to this. So immediately it's going to feel like ours. And we can also recolor graphics. I don't want to do that because this is a headshot, but we can even recolor graphics so they fit automatically into your brand colors. So that uses some AI to do that. So I'm not going to do that this time though. So I'm going to press apply brand. As you can see, now my fonts are now aligned, and we can now see that it's now in our brand colors. And if you're like, not sure if I quite like that layout, maybe I like some different colors, just keep on shuffling on through. So I think this works quite well. Let's go through a couple more. Oh, I think I even prefer that one. So as you can see, cycle through until you've got to a position where you feel you're comfortable with how those colors have been coordinated. This is why I love the kind of shuffle effect here. Now, I'm just going to bring in this logo. So I'm going to use one that's white so that it stands out. I'm going to just use that handle to rotate it slightly. Just going to pop that in just there and just reduce the size. There we go. So immediately, this is now feeling on brand. We've got the right fonts, we've got the right colors, and you can see it's used both primary and secondary fonts here. So it actually looks pretty cool. Added our logo too. So now this is looking pretty good. Now, like I said, I keep on talking about this flywheel effect, the compounding of speeding up your content creation. I touched on like templates within your brand kit a minute ago. So this is how we save anything that we've created as a template. I definitely recommend doing this. So I pressed share here. We're going to press make a template, and we're going to make this, we'll call this podcast quote. We can put any notes related to the template as well. But otherwise, here we go. We're going to save it in the location of our brand, save that template. It's now there in the background. So the delightful thing is we've now saved some favorites. We've now saved our templates as well. So now we're getting all of these components we can start building from much quicker in future. Hopefully that's making sense in terms of how you can start speeding things up. So in fact, actually just show you how it all looks. I'm going to head back to brands, which is on the home page, go back to our building, our brand, and we can now see that we've got all of our templates here. Here's the one that we've just created, and this would allow us just to get started from that. So we wouldn't have to go find a template and customize it because it's all there, ready, done for us because we saved it as a template. Alrighty, let's go back to what we were just working on. So here's the file we're just working on. Now we're going to step it up a gear because with this particular template, I want to create multiple different versions of this immediately. I want to take some quotes from the podcast, change out these names and also the headshot because this is just a stock image, because I want to talk about all the different guests and the quotes that they've shared. Now, one of the best ways to do something like this is with bulk create at the top. So whether you're doing, you're a restaurant, you've got lots of different menu items that you just want to swap into your design here. You want to create multiple different variations for different offers, different types of your product, whatever it might be. This is where bulk create is really useful. So bulk create is driven off a Excel file. So here I've created this Excel file here. So what I've got here is the name and the quote. So simple copy and paste. And lots of people use ChatGPT just to create that this type of Excel file really quickly. So you can do that. But once you've got that Excel file, we press bulk create. We now are invited to invite or add that bulk create document. So there you go, I've uploaded that. Now we've got to set up elements. This is as complex as it gets. All I need to do is click on the element. So I've clicked on the text here. And then it's now looking at that Excel file uploaded. So of course that's just the quotes there, and I press here. Now I want to connect the element. That element is going to be the name. So as you can see, it's just looking at the Excel file in the background. So I'm just making sure that the Excel file is linked to the right bit. So the quote here in the main text and the name in the individual's name. Of course, we don't have images in the Excel file. So what I'm just going to do is click here. So I've just clicked on the headshot, connect element, and we're just going to leave that as element 1. It'll become clear why in a second. So we press next. So it's now created all these different versions of it, which is great. But of course, the headshot's the same. So now we're going to press add multiple assets. So this is where, again, brands and libraries, super useful. So we press assets, go to our libraries, which is part of our brand kit, a place that we stored all of our assets. So again, makes it really easy. I'm going to go find these headshots. And I'm just going to go pop them in here, just drag and drop. So imagine if you were doing this for a product that you were doing. Maybe you've got like multiple different versions of a skin cream or a type of pickle you're making, whatever it might be. This gives you an opportunity just to very quickly swap things out. Also great for like A/B testing and split testing stuff. Anyway, dragged and dropped, in we go, create multiple pages. We've now created 10 different versions of that single template. So we've taken one generic template, we've customized it with one click to appear like it's on brand and now feel like ours. And then with another click, we've now bulk created it into multiple different variations. So now we've bulk created it, what we can do is take these 5 pages, for instance, and we can create an Instagram carousel out of it. So the Instagram carousel is your multi-image post, which is still performing very well on Instagram. And all we do is press the share option in the top right, click on Instagram, and then here we'll keep this as a post because it won't be a reel. And whilst this is busy uploading, we're going to add a caption. And I am no copywriter, so I'm just going to write the importance of building your brand, and I'm going to ask AI to come up with the rest. So I press generate new caption. And now this has been trained on social content, so it generally works quite well. And there we go. And that looks pretty good. Insert that. And I quite like this. Your brand is more than just a logo. It's a story you tell and the emotions you evoke. Perfect. All right. Sounds pretty good to me. We can also mention other people as well. So if we wanted to tag any individuals into this, so here I could actually maybe tag myself in this one if I wanted to. But here you go. Add in the names into this and you can tag those folk individually. We can also add alt text as well, which is great for accessibility reasons as well. And what I'm going to do here is just hit schedule, and I want to put this out. Let's do this later today and set as draft. I don't want this publishing right now. I want to come back to this, so I'm going to set it as draft. And then preview is your friend, so you can press preview and you can see exactly what that carousel looks like. Pretty cool, huh? Fully branded element using all of our quotes from our podcast to help promote our podcast. In 3 clicks, we've done this. Create a template, made it on brand, bulk created to then create multiple different variants, and then created a carousel and used our AI caption writer to help us craft the caption. How quick was that? Good quality, high quality content that feels like ours, but also done very quickly. All right, add that as a draft. Okay, we're not done with this because I'm a big fan of like maximizing the impact that we have from any content that we create. And also, thinking of other ways that we can repurpose content to live in different formats. So what we're going to do in this instance, so I'm going to take Sophie here, so the post from Sophie. Okay, so quite like that as a quote. So what we're going to do is then make this suitable for an Instagram story. So what we're going to do is use the resize function in the top left. Resize is a godsend. Everyone loves this tool, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to press resize. Resize is organized really nicely into different tasks. Of course, we're focusing on social media right now, so we're going to press on social media, and I just want to make this an Insta story. I want to press this button, duplicate and resize though, because I don't want to replace the other format. There we go. So now it's added a different version of this. A couple of things have gone a little bit out of kilter though, so that's no problem. We can go ahead and adjust that really easily. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a little tweak to that. There we go. And now we're back in business. I'll have that in the top right. All right, so now we're an Instagram story. This now looks in the right format, which is all good. However, we need to do something that kind of captures the audience attention a little bit more. So in fact, what we're going to do is click on here, go to animation, and then we've got different types of animation here. Now, typewriter is always very popular, so I'm going to press on typewriter. It's a little bit slow though, so I'm just going to press this toggle, and now I can just remove or reduce the duration here, and now, okay, that looks pretty good. So now we've got a typewriter effect. That's okay, looks pretty good, but sometimes you just want to bring a little bit more to life. Of course, we could click on each component individually and animate each element individually if we wanted to, but sometimes we just want to do one click and take an action. So this is where animate all is good. So we've just pressed animate all, and then I quite like this bloom one. So it's now going to take all of the components and animate it all together. Nice and easy. So there we go. And we could also look at it as a timeline, because essentially we've just turned something static into a video. So now we can choose exactly how long that animation takes to build. We could reduce the timeline if we wanted to, like that. But ultimately, we've now created something that's suitable for a story, of which we could easily just go ahead and share to Insta. But in fact, I'm going to take it one step further. Now, I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. Now, I'm going to show you something that has only just been released, but it is incredibly cool. So I'm going to go to add-ons here. Now, add-ons, consider this as to what the App Store is to your Apple phone. This is what the add-ons is to Adobe Express. It allows you to customize Adobe Express and make it feel like your own. So you'll find lots of add-ons, from storage tools like Dropbox or Google Drive to really powerful tools like TikTok. So I'm going to go ahead and add TikTok here. Now, I'm just going to come out of this for a moment because I've been using this quite a lot. And what I want to do is actually use this TikTok assistant to turn an image to video. You can turn any product shot to video, you can turn a headshot into video, and actually that's what I'm going to do now, because I really want this to stand out. We've got this whole kind of like animated effect, but how cool would it be if this headshot was actually talking? So I'm going to go to image to video. I'm actually just going to upload a picture of myself rather narcissistically, because I don't have another picture of Sophie here. So I'm just going to go ahead and find an image that will work for this. Let's use that one, and then we're going to say a person walking across the stage. I'm actually going to say, to be more specific, I'm going to say the speaker walking across the stage. All right, so now we're going to generate that. So whilst that's busy doing that, we're going to do something else. So I'm going to show you how you can really speed up video content production. As we know, short form, social first video is incredibly important, performing the best across social. And as we know, we can use that content both across Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts or TikTok, etc. The format works across everything. Now, this is where the quick actions will come to the fore again. So I'm going to go to social media and ads, and as you can see, we've got this one called Clipmaker. What the Clipmaker does, as the name suggests, it takes any long-form spoken word video, maybe a recording of a webinar quite like this, or maybe someone speaking on stage, maybe a podcast interview, whatever it might be, it then turns this into short-form social video. So I'm going to show you the file that we're going to work with here. So this is part of the Building Your Brand podcast, and this is the recording. So this is Liz interviewing Phil on the podcast. So all I do is go to the quick action. I'll then go to find this particular asset. So there we go. Pop that in, press generate clips. It'll add the captions too. It will take about 10 minutes or so to get done. So I'm actually going to shortcut this slightly. So what's going to happen then is that will be clipped into between 7 and 10 perfectly formatted social clips, all with subtitles here. So this is now what it looks like. So we've got, rather than it being the landscape, it is now a portrait layout. So we can...
But the other one was that I think experience is going to be so important.
So there we go. So now it's taking the most important elements of that, using a bit of AI to understand the meaning of this, and then turning this into like perfectly clipped social content. And as you can see here, if we press this little view all pages, you know, the same way that we were just looking at all of our different pages in the project that we'd created before with bulk creation, we're doing the same here. Basically taking one asset, so that longer video, and then turning it into multiple different variants. So now we could be, this is like 4 weeks worth of content right here. But what we're going to do is make a couple of tweaks, of course. So again, I'm going to click into this one. I'm going to edit a timeline. I'm just going to make the timeline a little bit smaller here in this instance. I'm going to press this plus button. So I'm going to add a blank scene. So your scenes give you the opportunity to then drag and drop this to the front, because we want something as like a bit of a placeholder here. Now, in this, what I want to do is go ahead and upload some content from my brand here. So we want to have a nice intro to this podcast clip. So again, you can see how quickly the brand kit will make everything feel on brand. I'm going to change that background color as well to our brand colors here. So I can easily swap that around to our brand colors. Let's do, I think that one works quite well. Let's do the building your brand bit here. I'll put that a little bit on the tilt because I quite like that. I'm going to go back to our brands here. You see, we've also got a whole bunch of assets as well that we can use. So this is pretty cool. Now we've got pop in like listen now. And then we'll use a few of these icons as well. There we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and just reduce the length of that scene a little bit. About 2 seconds is good. And press this little cross button and then add a little transition. So now what we're going to do, actually I'm just going to press animate here, press animation at the top. Again, I'm going to animate this all. There we go. So now we've got a little intro scene to this. I'm actually going to make this a little bit shorter, I think. Let me zoom in slightly. I want to make this a touch shorter, just 1.6 seconds. So this is what we look like.
But the other one was that I think...
So now we've created, you know, something that feels distinctly on brand, using our brand elements, using these clips. And of course, now we can press share. But in this one, rather than just sharing directly to one platform, I'm just going to press schedule post. And now we can use multiple different channels here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn, and TikTok too. So now we can just go ahead and schedule that one. So that's all now ready to go. So we've created quite a few pieces of content. We've already created the carousel, we've created that story, and we've created a reel orientated piece of content too. So what we're going to do here now is let's go back to remember how we were turning a static piece of content into video. So going back onto this now. So let's see what it actually did with that that video or that static piece of content that I uploaded. So bear in mind this was a single picture of me. That's now been turned into this kind of more speaking, walking across the stage type of video. Pretty incredible, right? So we're going to add that to page. Just press add to page. So here it is. Right, now I'll remove this from Sophie here. What I'm going to do, just make that a touch bigger, and then I want to use this little crop icon here, make that into the oval that we've been using. That works. Make that slightly bigger, and then I'm just going to tilt it a little bit and just remove it down in the layers panel. There we go. So now look, from what we've just done, from a standard template, we've now created something that now looks like this. Like, how eye-catching is that as a way of making these quotes come to life through animations, through like mixed media, through a bit of animating and turning some static image into a video too. So hopefully you can see there's quite a lot of power in this. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and schedule this. This is going to be an Instagram story. But in fact, actually, you know what? I'm going to make this into a reel because I think this would be good enough as a reel. So in fact, I'm going to put this across multiple different channels because I think this will work. So I will add, again, one more caption. I usually spend a bit more time thinking about these captions, just so you know, but we'll use this for the purpose of the demo. I will take that. That looks pretty good. Just update that. Now, so this is across multiple different channels. I'm going to edit this Reels cover as well because this doesn't look very good. So I've got two choices. I can select a frame or have a custom cover. I often select a frame here. So let's go with that one. So confirm that one. So now that frame will look much better as like our cover or our thumbnail for this. So there we go. We are all good to go. Let's preview it. Let's see exactly how it's going to look across multiple different channels. There we go. Looking pretty good. All right. So there we are across multiple channels. This is now good to go. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and take this for another day, choose our date and time, and then we're just going to pop it in as a draft. I'm only doing drafts just because I don't want this one publishing right now. But there we go. We've created a huge amount of content in a short amount of time here. So let's actually go into schedule and look like what we've got. So let's kind of walk around the schedule tool a little bit here. So what we've got on the left-hand side, just pressing this icon, unscheduled posts, brilliant way of like storing ideas you don't know what to do with yet. Of course, you can plan out anything directly in the calendar too if you want to. So we can just add draft posts when we know the date and time we want to get something out but don't know what we want to say yet. We can just pop in like ideas that we might have, things like that. We of course can drag and drop and move content around like that, so we can start to really build out our content calendar as we see fit, drag and drop onto different days. As you can see here, we're really considering like how we use the two most powerful formats, short form social video and then carousels, both of which have short form video had the highest reach of all social platforms. So this is where the best format to drive reach, and your carousels are your best way of driving deeper engagement. So we've created content across multiple different formats here, and also created multiple different variants across our bulk create project and across our Clipmaker project. So we can be reusing and repurposing content regularly. Now that's all good to go. We've connected our channels. It's being automatically published at our chosen date and time. Should we, all we need to do to publish it is just untoggle the draft. Of course, you don't have to save things as draft. I just did in this demo environment here. And then finally, we can look at analytics. So we jump into analytics. And here, the analytics is provided by an add-on called Metrical. But this is so easy to use, and you're able to connect this for free as well, which is super powerful. So we can look at a summary of how our content has performed across multiple different channels. So if we want to look at an aggregated view, we can then deep dive into individual channels if we want to. So we can see how our growth on LinkedIn has been specifically, how our followers are growing, the type of followers that we have, like their demographics, etc. And we can look at our top performing content. So here we can just filter out based on, what's achieved the best engagement rates. And here with the strongest engagement rates, which is the amount of likes and comments and clicks you've got compared to how many people saw it, you can just go ahead and also check out what that content looks like on feed. You don't need to be publishing content through Adobe Express for you to get this analytics either. So even if you don't want to use the publishing tools, doesn't matter, you'll be able to analyze the results. And then finally, we can wrap it all up in these reports. You can automate these reports. As you can see, you can customize the template, choose what you want to be shown in this, and even automate for this to appear and be emailed to you every single month. And that is it. That is your end-to-end walkthrough of how you create social content at speed and create at scale using Adobe Express. How we've created from templates, built our brand, saved a template to speed up creation in future, used bulk create to upload a CSV to create multiple different variations of our file, used then resize to take our file, which initially was created for an Instagram carousel using that portrait post format, we've resized it to a story. Then we've added multiple different media to it. We've used animation, we've added some video to it to really bring our story to life. And then we use the quick actions using Clipmaker to take a long video, take it into automatically clipped, social clipped short form content that we can use across all channels using things like Clipmaker and Caption Writer to help you speed things up. And there's one final thing just to wrap up with, as I hadn't covered it so far. So going back into our main calendar here, we can look at week, month, or we can even just look at our Instagram grid view. If we really want to look at what our grid looks like with our content that we've now created, we can now see exactly what it looks like here. So I really hope this gives you the confidence and the power that you need to create content at scale and create social content that truly stands out. Thank you.